Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. So today's video is going to be my updated brow routine. I did a brow routine like months and months and months ago, I think back in December, and I watched it the other day and my brows were looking horrendous. Like, I was like, why did I even do this video? My brows look terrible. Brows are an ongoing struggle. The struggle is most definitely real. But today in this video, I'm going to be showing you step by step how I groom, fill in, trim, just keep my brows in check at all times. I'll be taking you through all of my steps to groom them and keep them in shape, and then also how I fill them in using the Anastasia DipBrow pomade. This is a very popular product here on YouTube and on Instagram and just the overall beauty community online, but I feel like a lot of people are afraid to use it because they think like this is a crazy cream product and it's just like, I don't know, gonna get messy. But I actually love it, and it's actually like the easiest brow routine I've come across. Like, pencils just can be not neat enough, powders also can just be not neat enough, but this with a angled liner brush just is so amazing and I love it. Well, if you want to learn about my full brow routine, how I groom my brows and also how I fill them in, then please keep watching. Hey guys, so I usually start, this is weird that you can't see my whole face when I'm talking to you, but I usually start to do my brows before I do anything else on my face, and that is just because I feel like my brow products just stick better to bare skin than when it's got like slippery foundation and like primer and all that stuff on it. So I like to start with a fresh face, not so fresh because I'm breaking out like a freaking, I don't even know, but yeah, we're gonna start off on the brows with a fresh face, and I'm also going to be showing you guys how I groom my brows and everything, so they're quite bushy at the moment, but we will tame them. So I'm first taking a spoolie and just running it through my brows and combing them upward. And this is because we're going to do some trimming first. Okay, so I like to take these little baby scissors that I actually don't even know where I got. They've just like always been in my house, but they're like the perfect little itty bitty size to trim your brows. So I basically just comb up my brows first, and anything that's sticking up above the like rest of the brow is what I trim. And I try to just line it up and trim and just cut those stray hairs, and you will be surprised how much of a difference this makes with how like bushy and untamed your brows look. It actually makes like a world of a difference. And then I also like to brush them down just because my eyebrows are so bushy and thick that I gotta trim them from both angles. Okay, yeah, so that's one brow trimmed and the other is crazy. As you can see, it makes a difference. And this one is a little bit harder because it's my left side, so it's like a little bit more difficult to trim with my left hand. But I usually just let the spoolie guide me. Yeah, like this front part, it's a little bit hard to keep the hairs up while I trim, so I like to hold them up with the spoolie and then trim along the edge. And then do the same thing when you comb the brows down and trim, trim, trim. I've been letting my brows grow out specifically for this video, so I'm so happy to get them like nice looking again. Okay, so now they're all nice and trimmed and they look a little bit more tame. But now before we tame them any further, we're actually going to fill them in because I'm always afraid of over plucking, so I like to fill them in and then only pluck the hairs that are around the shape that I actually want. And that's a good trick if you're like still letting your brows grow in or you're like giving a new shape to your brows. Fill them in with the shape that you like before you do anything to them. That way you're only plucking the eyebrow hairs that you need to and you're not over plucking. Because I know I used to trim, or I used to pluck my brows before I would fill them in, and that is why this brow is so much thinner than this one because I did that. But yeah, we're going to be using the Anastasia DipBrows today. I used to use chocolate because it's just a great like dark brown color, but I found that this was a little too harsh, especially for summer. I like to lighten up my face a little more, so I recently purchased the DipBrow in the shade Taupe, and I like this a lot better. It's just a lot lighter and gives my face a lighter feel. And if you want a drugstore or like a cheaper alternative, I recommend the e.l.f. eyebrow kit, and I have mine in the shade medium, but I will say that this doesn't stay on your brows nearly as long as the DipBrow does. Like, I will say that this is like a little bit too slippery, and even when you're filling in the brows, it like can get a little bit messy because the product just moves all around, which is why I'll be using my DipBrow today. But I do find that the DipBrow can be like a little bit thick, so I like to take a little bit of Fix Plus and just spray like a tiny little bit into the cap, and that's just to dip my brush into before I dip it actually into this product. But I'm going to be taking this, I don't know the number of it, but it's the small angled brush from Sigma. It's just that the number has worn off. So yeah, I'm going to dip my brush into the Fix Plus that's in the lid, get it a little bit wet, and then I'm just going to run it back and forth into the DipBrow product. And then I'm actually going to go back into the lid and just press it into the brush and get off any extra. Just like that. You just want to press it in to kind of work it into the brush and make sure there's not too much product on there. And I always start with this eyebrow because this is the fuller one and this is kind of the shape that I would want my brows to be. I base it off of this eyebrow first. So I fill in this one first, and I take my brush, I start it at the arch of my brow, and then I just drag it down towards the end and kind of make my tail first. And then after my tail is on, I just meet up the top part of it down to it, just like that. And then I kind of just fill it in. And then I like to fill in the bottom line of my brows first, just because I feel like that is the line that actually defines your brow. So I then like to go from the tail and kind of meet it up to the front, like working backwards. We're just going to meet up the front of the brow to the end of the brow. But yeah, I just like to use the natural shape of my brows. Wherever this bottom portion ends, I like to fill it in from there and kind of make it a clean line from there. And if it's a little bit messy right now, don't worry, because we'll be cleaning it up later with some concealer. And we'll also be plucking the extra hairs around it. So don't worry if it's not perfect right now. Okay, so now that the bottom line is done, we're basically just going to do the same on the top. We're just going to make a straight line on this part of the eyebrow. And you're basically just going to start it wherever the brow starts, like just go along the top edge of the brow and make your line there. And then when I get to my arch, I like to round it out a little bit just because I like my brow to be a little rounded. And then I basically take whatever's left on the brush and run it through the rest of my brow to fill in any sparse areas. And then for this front section, I like the front of my brows to be square. I know some people like it to be rounded, but I just prefer square, and it's just the way my brows grow, so I like to just keep it the way it grows. And as you can see, it's a little bit sparse up here. That's because I plucked a little bit too far in, and I'm letting it grow in, but that's okay. I'm just going to take my angled brush, put it vertical, and then just flick it inward to kind of get that like gradient brow effect. But mostly just because we don't want too much product there. And my brows look pretty gray right now, but that's really just because of the lighting. But I'm going to take my spoolie now and run it through my brows just to distribute the product and blend it a little better. Make it look a little bit more natural. And it kind of gets any extra product off of the brows. And then when I do that, I also just like to go back into the front area of the brow and fill it in a little bit more, just because there's not really any hair for it to stick to there and it usually rubs off. So now we're just going to do the same thing on the other eyebrow, but we're going to kind of try to match the shape of this one to this one. So I'm just first going to start on the tail, as we did on the other side, and then do the line on the bottom of the eyebrow. And then when we get to this top part, I kind of like to almost trace a line through here, but like an imaginary line. I just like to kind of follow my brush and figure out where the top of my brow on this side is, just to kind of match it up. I usually get it wrong the first time and then have to go back. It's really just like just above where this brow ends, but I do like to match it up because I was the idiot that overplucked a few months ago, and now it's growing back in. One day, guys, one day we will be matchy-matchy again. And once again, round out this arch of the brow. And square off the front of it. And once again, don't worry if it doesn't look very nice right now. We're going to clean it up with some concealer and all that jazz. And I'm also just going to run my brush through the whole brow to fill in any sparse areas of the entire brow. And then I'm going to take my spoolie once again and run it through. And yep, I can tell that this isn't a straight line, so I'm just going to redo it. So yeah, now that the brow product is all in, we're just going to set them. I like my Milani Brow Shaping Clear Gel just because it's not crunchy and the brush is like the perfect size. So yeah, we're going to set them with this Milani Clear Gel because, I don't know, it just keeps them in place and it's not crunchy, which I love. Okay, so I started to clean up my brows with concealer and then I realized we need to clean up my brows with tweezers. So the tweezers I always use are the Tweezerman Tweezers. These are like the best ones ever and you can get them at the drugstore. And I basically just go in and clean up any brow hairs that are around the brows. And I won't lie, I definitely have a unibrow, so I'm definitely just gonna pluck in between here because nobody wants all that. Okay guys, and now that we have plucked, I always like to go back with something else just because I get little peach fuzzies that really annoy me and I can't grab with my tweezers. So I like to take one of these like weird little face razor things. You can get like a pack of 3 of these at like any drugstore. And I basically just like to pull my eyebrow a little bit taut and just go very lightly around the shape of the brow. And this just cleans up all of that peach fuzz and it makes your makeup go on a lot smoother. I don't know why, but it just really helps get all of those little hairs that your tweezers can't, because even the best tweezers can't pluck peach fuzz. So I just go around the shape of the brow, really mostly on the top just because it's really difficult to do it under here. But yeah, I just go back with this little razor and clean up those little fuzzies. And then I also like to do it in the middle because I can never like properly pluck my unibrow hairs. And then I like to go right under here because these hairs, I don't know why it's so difficult to grab them. Just lift it very tightly so that you can get a nice clean line and you won't like grab any hairs that you didn't want to. Now that the grooming is all done, we're just going to finish off with some concealer around the brow just to clean them up. And the concealer I like to use is this NYX Above and Beyond Full Coverage Concealer. I have the shade Light because I like a highlighted brow and I like to do a lighter shade than my skin tone around my brow. But if you don't like that, then just get a concealer that's your skin tone. And I'm going to take it on a flat definer brush, get it on the very tip of the brush, and then we're just going to trace along that shape that we made. And we do this because it further defines your eyebrow and it just kind of highlights them. Like if you love brows, definitely do this stuff because it's going to bring so much more attention to them. And I personally love brows, so I love doing this step. And I love this brush for it because it's just so easy to get a nice straight line. But it also helps if you have like blemishes in between your eyebrows like I do right now. And now I know this looks really crazy and harsh, but we're going to take a brush to blend it all out. Don't worry. I like to use this Airbrush Blender F63 brush from Sigma, and I just go around and blend the edges. And this just blends it into your face, makes it look nice and seamless, and yeah, just makes it look a lot more natural and not crazy like we did before. So just go around and blend. And this brush is part of the Spot On Concealer Kit, I think. Okay guys, that is basically it for the brows actually. So I'm gonna go put on the rest of my makeup and I will be back so that you can know how it looks with a full face of makeup. So yeah, I'll be right back. Okay guys, now the rest of my makeup is on and you can see that my brows are looking quite fresh. But yeah, I am just a brow like fiend. I love doing my brows. I love changing up my brow routine, but I think this has been the routine that I've stuck with like for months with the DipBrow from Anastasia, and I absolutely love it, and I think that this product is amazing, and I know if you guys pick this up and you just practice with it, you will get it down and this will be your favorite brow product ever. But yeah, that's basically it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope it helped you figure out your brow routine, and please give this video a thumbs up if you liked it, and subscribe to my channel if you're not already, and I'll see you all in my next one. Bye guys!